be feeling defeated, it's all gone wrong. That didn't work, no, not again. Yumi's gotta find another way to win. He'll keep on fighting, he won't give up. That's how he rolls, he's a champion now.
Gather round now, it's time for a show. Yumi's on the mic, ready to rock and roll. We're all getting together, bringing the hype. Raise your devil horns and let's ignite. Grab your snacks, get your drinks in hand. We're gonna party like it's 1987. Leather and spandex, hairspray abound. We'll headbang and shout to the sweet sound. Twitching and snacking, we're ready to go. Yumi's stream is started, don't you know? Raise your glass, let the good times flow. Twitching and snacking, rocking in stereo. Gather round now, it's time for a show. Yumi's on the mic, ready to rock and roll. We're all getting together, bringing the hype. Raise your devil horns and let's ignite. Grab your snacks, get your drinks in hand. We're gonna party like it's 1987. Leather and spandex, hairspray abound. We'll headbang and shout to the sweet sound. Twitching and snacking, we're ready to go. Yumi stream is started, don't you know? Raise your glass, let the good times flow. Twitching and snacking, rocking in stereo. Well, you feel with your epic beat so fine, and your hair flowing down like a waterfall divine. You're a twin streamer with a heart of steel, but it's fate that makes your senses real. Yeah. Yeah. With each bite you take a trip to the stars. The sizzle of the grill, it heals your battle scars. A love affair between man and meat. Your passion for steak can't be beat you, yeah. Oh yeah. You will be, you're a meat lover through and through. You crave that sizzling flavor, it's true. With your hair and your beard so wild, you're the steak-loving heartthrob of the twin stream. Ah. You're a steak-loving heartthrob of the twin stream. Ah. When the moon rises high and bright, you wield your fork like a knight in meaty fight. The grill becomes your battlefield, flames ablaze. And the steak, oh the steak, it's your trophy, your praise. Ooh yeah. You'll be, you're a meat lover through and through. You crave that sizzling flavor, it's true. With your hair and your beard so wild, you're the steak-loving heartthrob of the twin stream. Ah. extreme scene. With his beard in the stake, he's living the dream. He fires up the games, ready to have some fun. But when it comes to skill, he's got none. Game on, you ain't your gaming catastrophe. But we love you for the laughs and the hilarity. You may not win, but you always bring the cheer. So grab your controller, let's play, my dear. He's got the moves, but they're all wrong ones. But he keeps on playing like there's nothing wrong. His reactions are priceless, they make us all smile. Even if he's failing in every game style. Game on, you ain't your gaming catastrophe. But we love you for the laughs and the hilarity. You may not win, but you always bring the cheer. So grab your controller, let's play, my dear. UB's controllers covered in dust and grime. Ooh, yeah. He's been gaming since back in '89. Ooh, yeah. Our gaming grandpa with wisdom to share. But now he's lost in pixels with his flowing locks of hair. Through the highs and the lows, UB's always there. With a smile on his face and his wild untamed hair. From the retro classics to the games that are new, he's the heart of our gaming crew. Cream on you, you're a gaming catastrophe. But we love you for the laughs and the hilarity. You may not win, but you always bring the cheer. So grab your controller, let's play, my dear. Oh yeah, gaming catastrophe. When it comes to skill, he's got none. Gaming catastrophe, heart of our gaming crew. Gaming catastrophe, when it comes to skill, he's got none. Gaming catastrophe, heart of our gaming crew.
It was PAA and may not be appropriate for children under 17. It is rated TV MA LSV and contains strong language, sexual situations, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
I like steak.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Now, check it out! Vanilla Thunder in the house! Dusted, ready for bed, buns full of bars flowing from its head. Got hair flowing and long. UB's dropping jokes and songs of bombs. Tired, kinda like milk that's expired. Vanilla Thunder from the plains of Texas. Vanilla Thunder is coming Lexus. Vanilla Thunder, gaming catastrophe. That's just who he is. Our boy UB. Stepping up and stepping out.
That's me. I am guilty as charged. I am your boy, Ubi. Bring that down just a little bit there. How is everybody doing? It's a Tuesday night. You know what that means. It's time for us to talk tech. My goal is to have you leave here knowing less than you knew when you walked in the door. Gotta love it. All right, let's take a look at our weather as I scroll back and say hello to everybody. Hello. Tom, first in chat, how you doing? Good to see you. Ted, good to see you as well. I know you're off getting ready for your stream. Good stream tonight to you, my friend. We'll be talking to you a little bit later. Linda, good to see you as well. Brandy in here, my lovely, lovely lady. GMG, Mini Guitar Society, both of you. Trey Shreddings, back from the dead. He is resurrected and walking among us. How you doing, bud? It is good to see you out and about. Guitar Bob, special wave to you. Timmy, good to see you as well. Who else do we have in here? Scrolling down. There's Chris, good to see you. Hopefully Butter's around somewhere as well. Keith H, joining us this evening. 2 Yards and Keith from the Love of Guitars. Both of you all popping in as well. And I believe that gets us all right back up to where we should be. Let me get back into the correct stream. I should have grabbed a cough drop before I started, but that is all right. So instead, we'll just have a Werther's. Whether it makes it my cough better or not, at least it tastes good. All right, so we're talking about tonight how many plugins are too many, and that is not an easy question to answer because it really depends. It's going to depend mainly, most importantly, on your system itself, and specifically, it's going to really depend mostly on your CPU. But also on other things such as the amount of memory your system has, and to a much, much lesser degree, things like your hard drive space and those sort of things. Every plugin that you use in a chain, if you're using a digital guitar chain, it's going to come with a cost, a resource cost that's going to be attached to it. Not necessarily a monetary cost. There's lots of great free plugins out there. But every one of them has to process the wave as it comes through, and they come through as a chain. So obviously the first it's just like, obviously pedal effects in your chain. The first one takes the signal, does whatever it's going to do with it, sends it on to the next one, and so on and so forth. Every single one of those requires processing on a digital audio chain. Technically, it requires processing on an analog chain too, but the processing is not in a compute situation. It's, how quickly it runs through the circuit, to cause whatever effect it has to. So it's usually fast enough that you won't notice a difference. So every time that you add another effect to your chain, another plug-in to your chain, it will introduce two things to it. Number one, it will introduce a cost for processing speed. And number two, it'll introduce latency. Both of things are obviously your nemesis when we're talking about a digital guitar chain. Now, those amounts might be so minuscule that you won't be able to tell, which is hopefully the way that it goes. So what that means is it's dependent on your own personal system. Like you've got a weak processor like an i3, you may only be able to run an amp modeler and maybe one or two effects on it before you start really feeling the latency. Or in that case, latency is probably not going to be your problem. The problem is going to be you're not able to process that sound quickly enough to keep up with your buffering, which makes your buffers underrun, which gives you that scratchy, dropout, artifacty type tone. That's what's going to be your biggest one for that one. If you're like me and you have a system with a much better processor, mine has an i9 in it, you're likely never going to run into that problem. What you will run into is latency, because every time you stack on it, it takes just a little bit longer for it to process and move through and move through and move through. That won't affect you when you're recording. Absolutely will affect you when you're playing live, like I do, because the longer it takes for everything to process and get back into my headphones, the longer, the bigger the disconnect between when I strum, pluck a note and actually hear it. So that can throw you off if that timing is too far out. If you've ever heard, the delay in like a stadium if you're trying to sing, those sort of things. So that's basically the answer of when is, from a technical standpoint, how many plugins are too many. Now, from a sound standpoint, you can absolutely destroy your sound by, for example, having like 4 or 5 different plugins that add compression on it. You can over compress your sound, which may be fine if you're running super high gain, but it sucks if you're trying to run clean, for example. So that's also that falls into the same situation though that everybody who runs analog pedals do. Putting too many pedals in your chain is going to sound like crap. So there you go. That is the teaching moment for this evening. So now we'll throw it open to you for any questions. Will your HPE Cray EX handle 16 pitch shifter plugins at once? No. No, mine struggles to handle 1 plus everything else that I have. You would probably have to run. I don't think there's consumer hardware that would be able to run that many pitch shifters, to be completely honest. I know it was a joke question, but to answer the question legitimately, seriously don't think that it would be any way that anything that's even out on the market, like if you had the most bleeding edge computer, you probably still wouldn't be able to pull it off. Hey, Brian, good to see you. Also, Time Surfing Alien, good to see both of y'all. So say you got a new computer asking for a friend. Can you copy the plugins folder from the old hard drive, or do I have to download these all again? Depends drastically on your plugins. Some plugins are fully self-contained, and they're perfectly fine with just having the VST file or the DLL file copied. Other plugins have things like software keys, those sort of things that get attached to them. Those you would absolutely have to run the installer for to get everything all set up and properly. So to answer your question, you're probably best going ahead and installing all of them just so that you don't have a headache down the road. Yep. Trey knows. Trey knows exactly what I'm talking about. Trey is somebody who knows probably more than I do about digital tone. So he's in agreement with my assessment of the situation. That's actually your best way to do it, Chris. Take that folder. You can even search on the file names, and it'll probably tell you the exact. And when I say folder, there's probably more than one, but whatever it's pointing to, do a Google on those specific file names, and they'll probably tell you exactly which plugins those are. So if a plugin doesn't show up on the list, but you see it loaded during the DAW startup, that means it's probably in the DAW physically itself. It's not being applied as a plugin in the plugin chain. It's something that's being used in the background. You won't have any sort of an access to that unless there's like a special panel for it somewhere. And as far as loading it up into something else, unless it actually gives a endpoint and shows up as a VST in a list, there's not a way to be able to like force it into another chain. Having a problem with the program that you have downloaded and authorized, IK Multimedia hasn't done anything to help you end up getting rid of it. Yeah. That sucks. Anybody? Has anybody got the Leo James double cut SG that Time Surfing Alien is asking about? And if so, do you like it? Heard lots of good things about a lot of the Leo James guitars and some not so great things. So I have not played one yet. I've only seen them played. Brant, good to see you. We have not whipped the Dremel out yet, so you're not late. T-Rax 5. I have it installed, but I've never used it, Trey. Never actually used it. Oh, at some point in time, you need to send me the link to your patches because I'm not using Tonex in my standard chain, but I do have it finally set up again where I could go play with it. So I know I could search for your name, but it'd probably be easier if you just told me, sent me the info. I mean, there's nothing wrong with running an analog setup, Timmy. I mean, other than the fact that they're heavy, they're. I mean, it's the way it was done for forever, and you can't fully replicate the sound. I mean, I've got about as good as I'm ever going to get to sound like I've got a JCM 800 and a cabinet with V30s in it, and it sounds close. But I guarantee if I actually plugged this same guitar into an honest to goodness stack like that and played it, it would sound just slightly better. I mean, you're constantly chasing that, but you're never directly onto it. No, I'm actually using NAM, Trey, for my main chain. I'm using some custom NAM models for it. Along with a couple of other amp setups as well. But I mean, it sounds really good. It sounds very close. There's no question about it. But I guarantee I have Amplitude 5 and I have in the past used it, Trey. The problem with it is it's just a little bit too sterile for me. The advantage of the NAM model is I'm locked into the exact settings they recorded the model off of, but I catch way more of the nuances that come from it. So it makes it a little less sterile and a little more dirty, for lack of a better term. And it's one of those things where only those people like you and I would notice it, but it's there, and I can hear the difference. About your tone? No, not at all. Not at all. See, another thing that helps with your tone is you're a better guitar player than I am. So, you actually play with more nuance than I do. So it's gonna sound better. Also, your actual dialed in sounds are better than what I have dialed in. So it absolutely can. You also have to realize when I was running Amplitude 5, I was still running CS, not CE, which means I wasn't able to load custom IRs, which is another big part of that, getting the sound to sound less sterile. So I was locked into those free cabinets they had, which are good, don't get me wrong, but if you actually use a good IR in there, it's night and day in the difference on that. And I'm preaching to the choir. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So when I made the jump from Amplitude and Tonex, I actually made the jump to THU first because I had a paid version of THU and I could use IRs. And then I jumped from there over to NAM because I had it's just it's the modeling brought out some of the transients you couldn't hear as well. My pinch harmonics are so much better on the NAMM model than the way I had my the THU and Tonex and amplitude dialed in. But I guarantee, probably if I used one of your settings, I probably am just gonna it's gonna sound amazing because I've heard yours and I know what your tone sounds like. As a matter of fact, I had found some of your settings back when I was using the free stuff, and I could kind of play with them, with that whole scratchy sound in the background because I didn't own a lot of the stuff that you used at the time. So I already know those sounded better, which is why I moved, because I knew the limitations of my free version was never going to let me get the sound I wanted to get. If that makes sense. Floor is open, by the way, for any other questions. So, do I monitor through the interface or through the PC? Through the PC, back through the interface. So instead of the interface has two options on it, Keith. You can hit direct sound, which allows me to hear directly from the input straight back to my headphones without going through all my processing. I could use that if I absolutely had to, but I don't use that because, again, it's just my dry guitar. The way my setup works is that it comes in through my interface, through everything on my goes through it in through my interface into Voicemeeter. From Voicemeeter, I use that to go into all of my effects and everything, and from there it then goes out both to OBS or whatever I'm using, and also back into a loopback into my interface up through my headphones. That's the way mine is. Absolutely, I'd love to trade. That's I think we would probably come up with a lot of great stuff out of that conversation. I would recommend listening to a final mix. I find it hard to get a good mix through the interface because the volume knob competes with the actual PC volume. So, for me, when I do my final mixes, I know exactly in my DAW the meters, exactly what they're going to sound like through a bunch of different devices because I've used it so much. So I know exactly where I can peek into the red to know what's still going to sound good, and exactly how far below that red it can go and still be heard. So my headphones are just for kind of a raw mix. Level wise, mine's all it's all for me. It's all eyeballed by the meters themselves. No problem, Tom. Just like that you're hanging out. It's all good, man. And Keith, and that's also from doing mixing it up, taking the file and actually taking it and putting it on other devices, listening to it on my phone, listening to it in the car, those sort of things, just so I can tell exactly what it's going to sound like on things other than my good monitors, because that also matters too. Like, I can hear a lot of nuance in these headphones, these specifically, even though they're cheap monitors, they're really good monitors for being cheap. But then I also listen to it on my phone, so I can hear what it sounds like in a mono, because that's important. Because if you don't set your stereo fields up correctly, you can lose things completely in the mono mix. And then I listen to it on my car, so I can hear what it sounds like on crappy speakers without great EQ. So the output back through the loopback on your interface is always going to be a very high quality. So if it's going to be better than a onboard sound card on a computer, It might not be as good as a high-end sound card in a computer, though. So if you are at that point, then that'll make a difference. Another thing that you can do is if you take the output from your interface and run it into anything that has a meter, where you can see if it's clipping or not, you can dial your volume in on that interface by setting your output that's going to your interface to exactly 0 dB and getting whatever output is to exactly the red line. Then you'll have the gain staging coming out of your interface at exactly 0. It's exactly the same thing that I suggest for setting your gain staging on your input on your interface, just the reverse. That's why if you've got anything you can plug into that has a volume meter on it, especially one that you can tell if it's going over 0 dB, it's golden for you, because you can plug anything in there and use that to set gain perfectly. That's a definite possibility. Maybe this weekend, because it looks like I've got invoices coming in. So I probably am going to have some money and run down there this weekend, and I'll help you with your system, hands-on, get you all set up, and yeah, then I'll do some Whataburger. I'll be a happy boy. All right, folks, you have two options for switching over to Ted's Live. You can either click the link that I have up there in the pinned comment, or just chill out and chat, because after the stream ends, you're going to dump you right over into Ted's Live, so you're going to be able to roll right across when we finish it up. You know, we can do that. As long as you don't like getting, so close to each other that we're kind of kissing. But we can definitely pull that off, because we're going to have to share one mic in your studio there. Put the Culver's in the Whataburger bed. I'm going to know the second I pull it out, because the size difference isn't even close. Culver's burger is about this big, while Whataburger is about that big. Maybe we'll sit down and just record something together. We'll talk about it. We got plenty of time to talk about this week. All right, folks, it's time for Ted's Live. So let's get on aside. I appreciate each and every one of you who were with me tonight. If there's anything more that you wanted to ask and you didn't get a chance to ask it in the chat, or if you're just afraid to do it, email me, theubi@gmail.com, or talk to Trey, because Trey knows probably more than I do. Appreciate each and every one of you, folks. We will see you again. Our next stream is tomorrow, 10 a.m., Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Time. If you can make it, great. We'll see you then. If not, we'll see you when we see you on the next stream. Thank you very, very much for watching, and we will see you over at Ted's Live.